In Cleveland, Ohio, on Lake Erie, lived a man named Ted Kroft. Everyone in town knew Ted, not because he was charming or helpful or interesting. He was none of those things, but because he was the laziest, most conniving soul ever to call Cleveland home. Ted had one principle in life: never lift a finger if you can make someone else do it for you. He had honed this into an art form. Where others saw neighbors and friends, Ted saw opportunities, pawns to move on his board of self-indulgence. He hadn't worked a real day in his life. Instead, Ted told sob stories. "Oh, I threw out my back carrying my late grandmother's piano. I would get a job, but I'm watching over my cousin's epileptic dog. Doctor's orders. I'm allergic to manual labor." People, kind-hearted and a bit too trusting, fell for his tales again and again. Mrs. Jones, the bakery owner, gave him day-old bread every evening. "He's hungry," she'd say, wiping a tear. Old man Chris, the handyman, fixed Ted's leaky roof and replaced his porch steps. Poor guy can't even afford a hammer. Even young Billy, just 10 years old, mowed Ted's overgrown lawn every weekend in exchange for life advice that consisted of how to nap in shifts. And what did Ted do with all this charity? He lounged. He lounged like it was a sacred duty on his creaky porch in a hammock strung between two stolen parking signs, sipping iced tea donated by the church pantry. He lived like a king. He'd smile slyly and say, "People just want to help me. I have a gift." But the thing about people is eventually even the kindest among them start to notice patterns. It began with Mrs. Jones. One day she saw Ted behind the diner selling loaves of her bread for cash. That stung. Then old man Chris caught him bragging to out-of-towners about his free repairs and idiot neighbors. And even little Billy overheard Ted laughing about how he got free yard work from a kid who still wet the bed. Word spread like spilled molasses. The town didn't confront Ted right away. No, they had a better idea. They hatched a plan so subtle, even Ted's scheming mind wouldn't catch on. It started with a job offer. Mayor Jackson himself came to Ted's door, fanning himself with his hat. "Ted," he said, "we got a grant to restore the old mill by the river. Needs a site manager. Easy job, high pay. You're the man." Ted's eyes gleamed. "Well, I hate to deprive others of my leadership," he said smugly, "but I'll do it for the town." The next morning, Ted showed up to the mill wearing sunglasses and carrying a folding chair. He strutted in, ready to sit back and let others do the work, except there was no one else. No crew, no supplies, no tools. Just a pile of debris, sweltering heat, and a letter nailed to a post. "Congratulations, Ted. You've been chosen to single-handedly restore the mill. The whole town is rooting for you. P.S. Pay comes after the job is done. Good luck." Confused but proud, Ted waited. He waited 3 hours, expecting someone to show. No one did. He sat in the sun, then lay down, then started to sweat through his shirt. By sundown, he limped home, grumbling about a mix-up. But the next morning, the mayor appeared again. "Back at it, champ," he said with a smile. "We're counting on you." Ted trudged to the mill again and again. For a week, he kept showing up, convinced it was a mistake that would be fixed any day now. But the mistake never got fixed, because it wasn't one. While Ted slaved at the mill, the townsfolk stopped delivering favors. No more bread, no more repairs, no more sympathy. Mrs. Jones sold his stories as comedy sketches at the community theater. Wendell installed a lazy detector alarm outside his shop. It went off every time Lenny walked by. Billy, he opened a lawn care business and made sure to charge Ted double up front. 1 month later, the mill was halfway done, not because Ted was dedicated, but because he had no choice. He was tired, sunburned, and for the first time in his life, honest to goodness hungry. Then one morning, he found a new sign at the mill. "Nice work, Ted. Mill's good enough. You've proven you can work. So from now on, earn your keep, like the rest of us." Underneath was a job application for the Cleveland Sanitation Department. He sighed, picked it up, walked home with the form in his hand and a strange, unfamiliar ache in his muscles and in his pride. From that day on, Ted Kroft never quite returned to his old ways. Maybe it was the heat stroke, maybe it was the humiliation, or maybe, just maybe, he finally realized that taking from others only worked as long as they let you. And Cleveland, Ohio had let him long enough.